I said I was putting a big video out for the end of 2025. But fuck it, I go a cappella. I want to talk about the Markiplier movie. So Markiplier's new film Iron Lung is out, and I have some thoughts on it. Now, I'm not particularly in the demographic for Markiplier's audience. This isn't a knock against him. He's just doing his thing. He's getting that bag. I may not engage with him on this platform, but I will always have respect for someone who branches out into new territories like filmmaking. At least most of the time. My altruism only goes but so far. Point is, I was willing to give this movie a fair shot and support a fellow spicy white boy from the Midwest. This feels like the twin I never had finally having his moment, and I wanted to fucking be there for it. I bring all this up because I have some things to say about this movie, and I know there are a lot of 30-year-olds who pretend they're still in high school who are gonna see this review and start doxing me. So yeah, prepare yourself, cause it's about to get analytical up in here. You can't turn your brain off and mindlessly watch somebody fail at climbing a mountain on this one. What is going on with my fucking mouse? Fuck you! So Iron Lung is an adaptation of its video game counterpart, a game that I have not played. So this review will be focused solely on the movie as, well, a movie. Self-financed, written, directed, and starring Markiplier, Iron Lung follows a prisoner sent on a voyage to a distant planet made up of an ocean of blood, while dealing with the spooky, scary mysteries that inhabit this planet. Now, off-rip, the thing that stood out to me was the production design. The movie takes place entirely in the submarine, and I love how the movie fixates on the little details and structural flaws of the vessel. It adds a layer of tension where you genuinely don't know what will happen next. A lot of people have called these sequences boring, but I really fucked with it. I think it does a good job of making us understand exactly what this character is feeling, and the slow burn buildups never felt like a gimmick. You get to see the little moments that would often be cut or disregarded in most movies, like how the structural deficiency actually inhibits his character from doing the most mundane of tasks. The fact that he has to think outside the box or utilize minimal environments in order to progress his mission is such a fun little detail that I really appreciated. The sound mixing, score, and production design go a long way in putting us in the shoes of our main character. I was a little worried that the minimal setting would have restricted my engagement, but I do think it works in the movie's favor. When the movie decides to implement more conceptual sci-fi horror wackiness, it doesn't slack in that department either. The special effects look really good, and whenever it does dip its toes into the Lovecraftian horror territory, it's like a splash of water with how good it looks. You get it? Cause the submarine, and it's in the ocean. However, this is where I have to put my asshole analytical lenses on, because while I can sit here and praise the movie for its technical marvels, the biggest detractor for this film is the writing. It's not that the story is overly complicated or hard to follow, but the character writing is what falls flat for me. I won't get into spoilers, but there's a revelation about our main character that comes near the third act that gives us clarity for why he was selected to go on this voyage, and it's not really fleshed out too much. I'm not saying I wanted an autobiography about this dude, but it almost felt like a last-minute rewrite that was just thrown in for the sake of giving the character motivation. You could argue that this is supposed to encompass how regulatory negligence leads to exploitative labor and how it can put people in situations beyond their control, but the problem is we're never really given a whole lot to work with. It's a very surface-level character motivation, and it only comes into play at the expense of the story. Despite the great use of atmosphere and tension, I never really felt like I got to know this character. He never feels like a real person outside of I'm mad and shit out of luck. And I don't want to sound like an asshole because I'm not an actor and it's not easy to sell people on your performance. But the reason I feel this character isn't too fully realized is also due to the fact that I think that Markiplier isn't really a good actor. Now, in his defense, he is portraying the scenes as they are meant to be presented. He's able to sell the emotion of the character. The problem is, I still only see Markiplier. He has the same vocal cadence when he's making In Space with Markiplier or A Heist with Markiplier, except a little bit more angry. I don't want to sound pretentious, but I never really bought him as this character. The character doesn't stand out. Markiplier does, which can lead to some scenes that are meant to be tense feel like they're supposed to be a comedic element. It's a hard mix between his acting chops and the writing being in conflict with one another. If anything, I wish there was more minimal dialogue. I feel like this is a role that could have been played with the level of subtlety that would have sold me a lot more on the movie. The movie's going for this slow burn, building tension in its execution, yet it never really commits to it. It's like they're afraid people will think it's boring unless they hear Mark say the same thing in different parts of the movie. Instead, we're given a very formulaic sci-fi horror movie where the dialogue doesn't serve the story. It feels like a crutch for the audience in order to get us up to speed with information that could have just been shown to us. This is the problem when adapting minimal material into media. Sometimes creatives can pull it off, Castlevania being one of those examples, but it's supported by a writing team that's able to reconstruct the source material faithfully while telling a unique story. I respect that this is a passion project from Markiplier, and if he's bringing this amount of production quality to his films, he's gonna go pretty fucking far in his film career. I honestly think the biggest detriment to this movie is just how it's structured, and hopefully in the future he can assemble a creative team to help streamline his ideas. Maybe allow him to branch into more grandiose ideas with the material rather than settling for a conventional alternative. Now, if you think I'm being too mean, he said that it's okay if people didn't like it, alright? Argue with him, not me. This movie isn't horrible, it just wasn't my cup of tea. Be sure to check out Iron Lung for yourself. My opinion isn't the end-all be-all. Support indie filmmakers, support your local theater, because this is how we keep this space alive. Thanks for watching, folks. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao! Where the roads go